Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and I host the only online conversation in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. As always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Happy Emancipation Day, Canada. Happy Emancipation Day. And that's what we're going to be chatting about today, Emancipation Day. And we have a lot of people say guest, but to me, very special friend who's going to be joining us today on Emancipation Day. So if you're watching last Friday's program, either live or replay, you know who it is. But if you don't, stay in your seat, or if you're driving, pull to the side of the road, okay? Just do that. But before we do anything else, I'd like to say today's episode of The Morning Vibe is sponsored by Frequency Event Promotions. I'm so excited to have my friend on. Frequency Event Promotions. It's a digital marketing and advertising and printing based company based right in the Toronto, Ontario, Canada area. It is led by co-founder and business owner Christopher Lawrence, who is a revolutionary entrepreneur, digital marketer, and event organizer. So we like to thank Frequency Event Promotions for not only sponsoring today's show, but all the things they've done to help make the Morning Vibe a great success. So let's get back to other business. So yes, today is Emancipation Day. And in Canada, I don't think there's no one better to have on Emancipation Day than my friend, Ms. Rosemary Sadlier. Hey, how you doing?
I'm just fine, thank you. Great to see you.
Always a pleasure to see you. Always. Oh, before we go any further, people are going, where's Ryan? Where's Ryan? Well, Ryan, I guess, is on his way back from Halifax, from where the summit was this weekend. So he's on his way back. So he will be back with us on Friday. So if you're a Star Wars fan, which I am not, I'm going Han Solo today with my friend Rosemary Sadlier. Rosemary, how you doing this morning?
Well, I'm just great. It's been a really whirlwind kind of week leading up to Emancipation Day. And I'm just really, really excited to be able to finally celebrate it with people, not just online as well. It's been amazing.
It's interesting. One of the words you shared with us is whirlwind. I think when your autobiography is done, not if, I think maybe that may be the title of it, Whirlwind. Just a thought. I'm just putting that suggestion out there.
It's a good point. You never know.
Absolutely. We have worldwide listeners, worldwide family, I like to call it. And can you give us a little background on how this day finally, and I say finally, came about? You want to share some of the whirlwind that made this day happen?
Absolutely. Well, there's so many ways I could answer this question, but let me begin by saying that we work with each other and we support each other. And when there's a great idea, we work and build on it. And I was presented with a great idea. I was the new president of the Ontario Black History Society, and I was working from home before it was fashionable. I got a phone call one night from a social justice advocate from Trinidad and Tobago. And he spoke to me, 10 o'clock Saturday night, complete stranger. He spoke to me about Emancipation Day. And we met very soon thereafter, began a process of helping to build up community awareness. I began to research and vision what an Emancipation Day program might be, because I'd never been to one. There were none in Toronto during the time I was growing up. That's where I'm from. So we began a process of having formal recognition given to August 1st as Emancipation Day. August 1st, Emancipation Day, is the day in Canada. It may have been a bit different in other parts of the world, but in Canada, the day when slavery was abolished. And because slavery by that time pretty much just meant the enslavement of Africans, that was really when our freedom under the law began. Okay, so I was able to get it officially proclaimed with City of Toronto, with Metro Toronto, with the City of Ottawa. I always approached what I did in a nonpartisan way. So, being in Ottawa on many different occasions, I was able to meet people who were very interested in seeing what they could do to support Emancipation Day. And I was struck by the reality that even Preston Manning with the Reform Party was very quick to host a reception for us in Ottawa, but it hadn't gone to any designation at that point. I saw it go through to a unanimous passage with the province of Ontario, led by Ted Arnott, Maria Van Bommel, and Peter Cormos. And Ted, by the way, is now the Speaker of the House for Ontario. And that was amazing. And from that point on, there was always a celebration that I organized in conjunction with or beyond what all parties with the province of Ontario would do at Queen's Park. But in the meantime, I was also seeking to have it proclaimed, declared federally. And it went to second reading on 2 occasions, I believe in 1999 and in 2000, on a private member's bill put forward by MP Deepak Abdrai, a Tanzanian who lived in Calgary. And it didn't go through either time. And private members' bills are kind of precious. So people, when they are willing to use them for something that's big and overarching rather than something that supports their local constituents, you know that they really feel strongly about it and know that it's really important. And so it was really disappointing that it didn't go through. But then with this new federal government in 2015, I approached my own MP, Rufurani. I moved. I considered other MPs, particularly Greg Fergus, who was the head of the Black Caucus. I had petitions issued. Petitions had been issued all the time, but this particular one was a parliamentary petition, which would then mean that the government had to give consideration to this. But before that was while I got it submitted and done, thank you, Canada, for all of your support in signing the petition. What happened was that Senator Wanda Thomas Bernard thought that she might be able to just get it through the Senate. And it went to second reading twice in the Senate and didn't go through again. So it was like, wow, is this ever going to happen? But by 2021, by the time that MP Majid Jahouri introduced it to the federal government, to the House, I watched the vote online, and I really was, I've seen this happen before. It may not happen, but all of a sudden it was obvious that it was going to be a unanimous vote in favor. And I started to tear up. I really did, because it's like, it's finally going to happen. It had only been since 1994. And now it was going to finally go through. So it was such a mixture of feelings, joy and relief. I wasn't crying because I was sad. It was just like, it happened, shock. It was amazing. I was very happy. And I had the first virtual celebration of Emancipation Day because of COVID, which involved international partners, because one of the organizations I'm with, I was with the Ontario Black History Society for 25 years, 22 of those years as president. But that wasn't my job. It was part of my passion project.
Mm-hmm.
So I continued that, and but with another organization, I helped to issue a national petition, and that was the Royal Commonwealth Society.
Yeah.
So I was able to see that happen. I'm just really, really happy that it went through, and really happy that here it is, August 1st, and I don't have to organize the events because everybody else
Who
is.
else is doing events? Like, I mean, like yesterday I had Sarah Youngo on a part of a panel, and she was boasting about, oh, we're having a big event on August, big event over. I'm seeing stuff all over the digital airways about emancipation events. And I'm going, I wonder if they've thanked Rosemary and her team. Just a
Um,
thought. Just a thought.
I think people, if this was the United States, people would look at me like they look at Opal Lee, I believe, because I'm the person who kept this as a focus and commitment and followed through on it since 1994.
Wow.
And I should also say that even though I don't feel don't have to organize events, I certainly was part of events and helped to organize some anyway. But it's just to see it having blossomed, so that there are things that are happening from coast to coast to coast. And some of those I have put on my social media. Some I haven't. It depends on whether or not they seem to be profit driven or if they seem to be community education driven.
Yeah, not aligned. They have to be aligned.
You have to be aligned. I
Yeah.
think that we've seen, like for example, people might be surprised, but I mentioned that I'd never been to an Emancipation Day event, and people might think, well, there's Caravana, but Caravana, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
and as amazing as it is, and and colorful and joyful, I don't know that it always connected the dots for people who are not familiar with Carnival, and for people who didn't come from the Caribbean. They only would view it, I'm afraid, as a party. And parties are great, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that they would make the connection between this being a what people did spontaneously upon that moment in history when they found out that they were going to be free.
Yeah. So our sponsor is hailing you up, saying, Rosemary Sadlier, you are a walking legend. We commend you for all that you are doing and what you will continue to do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let me ask, and folks, I feel very blessed and highly favored today because we have Rosemary before she's going to another conversation on a major network. So we got her first. So when I told her I wanted her at 9 a.m. on Emancipation Day, she said yes. She goes, yeah, well, I got something to do at 10 o'clock. So good, I got you first. And it's on a Black platform. Thank you very much. The interview she's doing is not on a Black platform after me. So I want to say thank you for taking the time. I appreciate it. And don't take it for granted. And also, family, do realize Rosemary and I have lots of deep offline conversations. So it's not just one of these things just seeing us on the screen. We have lots of offline screens. Actually, Rosemary, you know what we got to do?
Go for coffee?
Well, yes, but you know where we have to go for coffee?
Yes, I do.
Where?
Was it a McDonald's or a Burger King?
The Burger King down on the lake shore. So we have to go back there. We have to take a picture there of us together saying this is where our journey together started. That conversation. Another kudos coming to you. Good morning and happy Emancipation Day. Dr. Sadlier, thank you for all your tireless work at the OBHS over the years and your role making the celebration of this day possible.
Thank you very much. I did work on it really hard. But I also, I think people really ought to know that this isn't the only thing that I have done.
Oh, I know that. We
could
spend a few episodes on all the different things.
I mean, in addition, my work to have Emancipation Day started in 1994, but it was modeled after this work I had done to effect February as Black History Month.
Yeah.
And I was successful with that a lot sooner, just because I built upon what the organization I was representing had done.
Mhm.
I extended it. I blew it up as much as I could before social media existed. I was able to create a community of interest. I went to everything possible to represent the organization because I was building up the brand of the
Yes,
organization.
absolutely.
And in the process, when I first became the president, I didn't know that there was a requirement to go to the city. At that point, it was just with the city of Toronto. I
Mhm.
didn't know that there was a requirement to ask the city, to petition the city for a proclamation for Black History Month. We didn't know because there was a change in the board in general. And we almost didn't have it that year. And I was president in 93 in the fall. So that 1994 could have been the year that there was no official Black History Month. And I was horrified that that came so close to happening. So I was able to secure a Black History Month proclamation with the city for that year, even though I was past the deadline. And I went to our rep with the province of Ontario, Daniel O'Brien, got a proclamation for Ontario. And then I began a process, not just in terms of offering, I gave over 2,000 Black history presentations in schools and community organizations and churches and libraries. This is before social media. So you
Yep.
actually had to get there. That
You
was
pounded
my
the
gas
pavement.
money.
Yeah.
You had to get there. And sometimes, anyway, and I just to raise awareness and keep the momentum going, so that when I finally had approached many members of the federal government, when I happened, and I'm following up with people. Remember, this is when there were dial phones and faxes.
Oh my.
So I happened to be at an event at Denham Jolly's house, and Jean Augustine was there. And so I thought I would corner her and say, "So, about this Black History Month that I'm looking for." And she said, "Well, let me get back to you." And she went into another room with Lloyd Perry, and she clearly was talking about the pros and cons with him. And when she came back out, she said she would do it. So, building on all of the infrastructure created by the founders of the OBHS and building upon my extension of all of that foundation, we got the opportunity for Jean to take it to the House. So that was, I did both of those major commemorations, as well as nominate for local or regional or national historic commemoration, many people, places, and events that are important to our presence in this country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what we're going to do, family, we're going to take a quick little break uh, and do a little promo for a big event coming up in the Toronto area. And then when Rosemary comes back, or when we come back, I'm going to ask her various questions like what was some of the biggest challenges along the journey to get this happening, because they may have been different than other challenges she's faced, and also a television special that's coming up tonight that you need to check out. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of journeying around, and we're going to do this as I host and produce this at the same time. So we have a little event to tell everyone about today. It's a free community pop-up shop that's happening Saturday, August 6th from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. out in my neck of the woods, 2206 Eglinton Avenue East. The major intersection is Birchmont Road in Eglinton. This event will feature over 10 product and service based vendors, varying in different categories such as food, healthcare, beauty, car care, parenting resources, employment services are going to be available, door prizes, and so other things that you can check out. Now, if you want to find out more information, I'm going to put up their link. And again, this is also being brought by Frequency Event Promotions. They are doing incredible stuff. So that is happening this Saturday. So make sure you check it out. I'm going to put up the website address in just a moment, but I'm going to come back to Rosemary. So, Rosemary, along the way, it was a smooth ride, wasn't it? For this one.
No. It was not a smooth ride because I think for Black History Month, it's the message of Black History Month is that there are Black people in Canada. And the message of Black History Month is that those people have been here for a long time and have made a contribution. I mean, there are many, many messages, but for sure that is the most critical one. And the message of Emancipation Day is that there was a slavery that was abolished. And I think that, that's a really hard message for many people to hear. I had a lot of pushback, a lot of concern. I had to meet with people who had opposing views, and some people who even felt that as a community, we already had the opportunity to celebrate February as Black History Month. We didn't need something
Anything else. Yeah.
Like this was enough. So there were just different ways of, it was an opportunity to educate, but it was also part of the advocacy.
Yeah. So, folks, I did say I promised in regards to that event coming up on the weekend. Here is the website address that you can register at. Don't wait, register today. And hey, even Dr. Vibe may be at this. So that's not the main draw, by the way. but
of course please, it is.
No, I know. No, I'm just no. I just will show up and support. Actually, I may not be able to attend because I have another event. Don't you ever find that you get forget double booked sometimes? That's all other.
I mean, these are some flowers right here.
Yes.
Just in case people are wondering, and I should tell you that I sometimes not only are you double booked, but you go to an event and you're shockingly, you're completely surprised that you are being honored when you didn't think about it. So these are some amazing roses that are part of your view. I thought I should just mention that, my commercial, because it was an event that I helped organize in conjunction with York University and York Lions and the Jane Finch neighborhood. And the guests included the vice president of York University, as well as invited people like MP Majid Jahare, who put forward the motion, and Winston LaRose. And it was great. But I just thought I'd mention that because I just realized you can see them in the screen.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Let's talk about a television special. What's up with that?
Well, for a number of years, actually, I have been going to an event organized by Ngozi Paul, and it was called Emancipation Arts or Fresh Arts or Free Up. And it was an opportunity for me to speak to young artists, performing artists, spoken word artists, and help them understand more about the reality, the history, the experience of emancipation in Canada. And this was something that was happening live, and sometimes I would be at an event organized by the organization I was formerly leading, and I'd have to leave early in order to get to Ngozi's event. But it was great, and they were really open to hearing about all of this information. So with COVID, even though Ngozi had moved to trying to get it onto television, which it did get to be on, it was different because it was COVID, and I wasn't as fully connected with the production, and it was maybe went a little bit under the radar for some people that it was actually happening. But the first year and the second year and this year, there was also something really special about these awards and about this event, and it includes the Rosemary Sadlier Freedom Award.
Wow.
Because among the interesting things, I think, is that not only is Ngozi, like I think all of us should be, but looking at various different ways to engage people and to in the discussion about what is freedom and what we can do to achieve the kinds of things that are important to us. We have to also look past just academics. Not that academics aren't important, but not everybody's in public school. Not everybody's going to take a history course. And we know how powerful some of the music can be. I mean, I can think about, like, for example, to not reflect on the artist tonight so that you'll watch it and be surprised and amazed. But during the 60s and 70s, there was an African-American artist, Curtis Mayfield, or,
Yes.
of course, Marvin Gaye and What's Going On. These were people who were profoundly touched by life and reflected it in their music that we still understand and work with today. And so if we can inspire a whole generation of artists through their music, their spoken word, their poetry, their writing, to express and reflect and reframe what is freedom, I think it will really extend the conversation.
So when she approached you about being involved in this project, what was your first response?
Well, this year was really special because I was actually on set.
Yes.
And had my makeup professionally done, queen for a day. But it was it was it was really, really, really touching, because I felt that she got it, and she was using her lane, the privilege that she has in the artistic community and with her background in other productions, to really bring this message across the country. And I should just say, by chance, I was at a production last night that Trey Anthony has, Black
Yes.
Harborfront, Black Girl in Love with Herself. And
Mhm.
Ngozi came out as part of the second part of the production last night, and she was talking about various aspects of what they'd gone through in Black Girl, and also earlier productions like The Kink in My Hair, which is coming back this year.
Mhm.
But at the end of her talk, Ngozi made a point of thanking me and acknowledging me in front of the packed house. And I had to, like, stand up and, as they say, take my flowers, my virtual flowers. So it tells me that in Ngozi and the production, this is an authentic expression.
Mhm.
It's there are other things that she could be doing, but this was I believe it's an authentic expression, and it's an opportunity for people to, yes, know that I champion this. Yes, I did. That's true. But also to know that there are Black communities across the country, Black artists across the country who are contributing towards that discussion.
Yeah. So the special is called Free Up Emancipation Day. It's on tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern on CBC. So if you can check it out, please do. It's so worth everyone's while. No matter what background you are from, it's all about us. Rosemary, I want to ask you, because our time is beginning to wind down because you have other commitments, but you fit me in. Thank you very much. Uh, what do you want? No, I'll put that second. First, I want to say, are you concerned about the historical knowledge of Black Canadians about Black Canadian history?
Yes, absolutely. I'm concerned because I came into this. Let's put this into perspective. I was the head of the only provincial heritage organization that happened to be focused on African Canadian history in the entire country. I was unpaid in doing that. I did not come into the organization with a degree in Black history because it was impossible to get a degree in Black history in any place in the country. So the knowledge that I came to share was knowledge that I found, knowledge that I knew from my lived experience, knowledge that people shared in terms of oral history. It was put together in a way that other people may not take the time or the energy to do. But it was my story, and it was the story of my children, and they needed to have something. Certainly, there have been some, amazing works that have come out since those early days. I mean, and there were some bits of information, some books that had been published. But the problem is not so much that are there books or not. The problem is there an impetus and a push and a requirement for our students to learn about African Canadian history? And across the country, in every municipality, is there a requirement to take Black history? And I'm afraid that the answer still remains no. Is there a required Black history curricula? I believe that the answer pretty much remains no. And so that means that it's possible to be a person of African origin, a child, and fail to ever see yourself reflected or your story ever told back to you so that you would know it. And how can your parents know it if they weren't taught it? And how can your parents know it if they were coming from another country and bought into the narrative that says that there are no Black people in Canada? So I think that we have to have a required Black history. And that doesn't mean just talk about Black people in history class and social studies. It means a full integrated representation of the diversity that is Canada. And it also means not just like that takes care of the school age population, which is significant and important, but we also have to be looking at what else is happening in our society. I mean, things are growing and developing, but frankly, by leaps and bounds. I'm sure that there's some white people that are feeling like, what's going on? Because I know when I was growing up, if I saw a Black person on TV, I would phone up my friends. Like I just saw a Black person for 2 seconds in the background on a commercial. Like that was news because it was so unusual, so rare and accidental. But I think that we need to see more representation in the media. Not just front facing, but also who's on the corporate boards,
who's making the decisions on what comes out,
who's making the decisions on what comes out, and who's making decisions on the granting bodies that are funding those particular stations or productions or so on. And of course, it's not just school and it's not just media. It's also who's just generally on our agencies, boards, and commissions. Who are the people who are reflecting back to all of us that there is a diverse African Canadian community? And we don't have that. The idea that, well, you have Black History Month, it's one and done, we don't need to look at anything else. I think sometimes we do that in other areas. And so tokenism is a real problem too.
Why is Emancipation Day, I'm going to break it down to two groups. Why is Emancipation Day important for non-melanated Canadians?
I think knowing what I know from my lived experience, let's put it that way, and knowing what I know gleaned from having done over 2,000 presentations with all age groups and all kinds of situations, there's an ongoing sense that Black people have no history, and that history, if they have a history, it's not particularly important. And so I think that for people who are not Black, they may feel that anything important or worthwhile or interesting or artistic or valuable has been done by someone that looks like them. And the idea that there may have been a Black person, an African person, a person from the Caribbean who may have contributed to the beauty or the knowledge or any aspect of development of this country just goes over their head. So I think that it gives people who are not Black a more balanced sense of their own historical contribution to this country. And of course, it gives people who are Black a significant sense of pride and more, hopefully, more agency to do more.
Why is Emancipation Day important for melanated Canadians?
Well, speaking as a melanated Canadian,
I hope so, yes.
I think, like, for me, I grew up knowing about the Underground Railroad, but I didn't quite appreciate that the Underground Railroad was built on the reality that there had been slavery on these lands. And so it's also not a wake up call, but it's an element of awareness, and helps to explain how um, inequities and anti Black racism has tracked forward since the time of the transatlantic slave trade past the Underground Railroad phenomenon to the present day. Otherwise, you feel like, well, where did that come from? But there's a reason that things are the way they are, and that's also the reason that we have to keep on challenging it.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, are there any people that you would like to say thank you to on this day?
Oh, well, I wish my mother was still alive. I would thank her first and foremost, um, and many other people who have long passed. But in terms of who's living and walking around right now, in terms of the National Declaration, let me thank so very much um, Senator Wanda Thomas Bernard for her effort to try and make it happen, and also to thank, of course, MP Majid Jahouri for his generous provision of his private members' time, and putting this forward. Thank you both so very much.
So, what are you doing for the rest of the day? I know you have another interview or you other people call it interviews. I say conversations at the top of the hour. What are you doing on the rest of your Emancipation Day?
Well, I hope I'm doing a little bit more than one other thing, because I don't like to sit at home with makeup.
I know that even.
uh, no, all jokes aside, I'm doing another interview shortly, and of course, I'm going to be watching Free Up tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm open for lunch invitations, dinner invitations, and more interviews today and the rest of the month.
So, what's next for you? You've climbed up two mountains and got to the top. What's the next mountain?
Wow, there's so many. I wish I knew which. I mean, I do know what I'm going to be working on next, but until I get to a point where it's taken a little bit more shape, because I'm still processing how best to do what I've got in mind, I'd rather not speak about it. But
That's all right.
I think that people should know that um, I didn't come into this for any other reason than to try to make things better for all of us. And even though I have not been with the OBHS for a number of years, my work at continuing to seek national historic recognition for many things has continued. My connection to social justice advocacy has continued, and I continue to work when I can as a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant.
Do you have time for one more quick question from our audience?
Sure.
Here we go. Ray from the McMillan Group, who does a lot of sponsorship of our platform. Over the years, how open to the conversation of Emancipation Day and the Black Canadian experience since the 1600s been with non-Black Canadians? Good question.
I think I think the real answer is that it isn't about openness. It's about, there's sort of maybe two camps: people who kind of already know and don't care, and people who really just don't know. And once they know, they want to know more. I think I think that there's a growing acceptance that Canada is a diverse country. When I started doing what I was doing publicly with the organizations I've been with, like the Black population has doubled since I've been active, and people are coming. People in the townships in Quebec, and people in parts of Western Canada who haven't noticed, because they've been there, but they haven't noticed their Black population. They have to sort of come to terms with that too. So I think that there's generally a curiosity and a surprise to realize that Black history didn't start in 1967 or 2020. It's been a part of the place that we call Canada since before Confederation. And frankly, my family and others have been in this country since before Confederation.
Well, we'll end it off on that on time. Rosemary, thank you for all you have done, are
Thank you.
doing, and more importantly, will be doing going forward to help not only Black Canadians, but Canadians, and I think people all around the world. And as always, I like to say to you, make sure you give yourself grace, and also don't manage your time, manage your energy. And I love the flowers, by the way. So have a great Emancipation Day.
Thank you so much. And you too. And everybody, think about what freedom means to you and make sure you work on getting it.
I like that, should be your tagline. That should be your tagline right there.
You like that one?
I love it. I love it. And Freaker says, thank you, Rosemary, for your energy. Thank you so much. You have a great rest of the day. Be well.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, family. Great conversation. And Rosemary and I go way, way, way back. Like, we have to remember there is a Burger King on the lakeshore, which is part of the lakefront of Toronto, that we had a conversation many, many years ago. And that has just been just amazing. So amazing. So I like to say, hey, what are you doing for Emancipation Day? I did something. And I'm gonna, unfortunately, I have something I got to do tonight that conflicts with the special. So hopefully I can catch it on replay, but hopefully you can catch it tonight. I just want to put it up there. Also, Free Up Emancipation Day tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern on CBC. That is about it for today. And like I said, Ryan will be back on Friday. Just to FYI, on Friday we have Wayne Harris. Wayne has been on this platform one or two times, and he's going to be on the Morning Five this Friday as part of our new Financial First Friday series. And what we're going to be doing is the first Friday of each month, Wayne is going to come and talk about different aspects of finances to you all, wherever you are, things like wills, things like life insurance. He is going to be throwing it down to help educate, empower, enlighten, and entertain you. So that's going to be another great conversation coming up on Friday. I'd like to say, Ray, thank you. Great and apt conversation. Much thank you, Ray. Frequency of War. Yeah, looking forward to Friday show. Yeah, that's going to be amazing. And hey, again, Frequency Event Promotions has an event coming up this Saturday. I'm going to be a nice guy and put it up again for y'all. That's the event, the Community Pop-Up Shop. So check it out on social media. Also, here's a link for you to register and find out more about it. It's coming up this Saturday. So hope you'll be available to check it out. So thank you, everyone who watched. And Frequency, I guess he's plugging the Dr. Vibe the Morning Vibe Show. It's the Morning Vibe Show. So it's not the Dr. Vibe Morning Vibe Show. It's the Morning Vibe. It's myself and Ryan Knight. So always thank you for the support. It's appreciated, not taken for granted. Just want to do another few quick things. You can watch replays of the Morning Vibe at the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and Facebook, the Afro-Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and the Ryan Oneil Knight channel on YouTube. So, as always, I like to close out our conversations like this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourself grace. And also, don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Looking forward to seeing you all on Friday. But until then, be safe. Be safe. We want you all. We need you all. Thanks for your continued support. God bless, peace be well, keep the faith, and walk good.